Folks, what is up? Welcome to So Bad It's Good. This is your pal Ryan, and this is your Friday episode. We took Thanksgiving off because it, was Thanksgiving, but we are here Friday and we are here Saturday for you. Today, we're doing a Real Housewives of Salt Lake City Season 6, Episode 11 recap, which was a very interesting episode. But more importantly, I'm coming at you Thanksgiving night. I am stuffed to the gill. I am so stuffed with food and happiness and love, which is never good for a podcast. You know what I find makes good podcasts is when you're angry. When you're angry and hateful, those are the best podcasts usually, but we'll find some anger along the way. I'm sure we'll pick some up. How was your Thanksgiving, you guys? Was it everything that you wanted it to be? Was there fights? Was there awkward dinner table conversations? Tell me everything. Was it just bland? How was the food? Who got too drunk? Did you get too drunk? It's okay. It's okay. It's Thanksgiving. Anything goes on Thanksgiving. I have to tell you though, I'm not shitting you, is that this has been just the best. My dad is in town and Rebecca's mom is in town. And we've just been having the best time. And, it's like Rebecca's dad's not with us and my mom's not with us and we miss them, of course. But this is so much better than I thought it would be. I was kind of nervous about this and it has just turned out so nice. We went out to dinner on Wednesday night and that was really nice. And then today it was so amazing. Like Rebecca and her mom, they were up early, working in the kitchen, literally barefoot and pregnant. They made the joke. I didn't. And they were like laughing in the kitchen, cooking. And my dad was here and we were just being goofy, in the living room, which is, it's all kind of just one area where we are. And we watched a bunch of movies. We watched Christmas Vacation. It's never too soon to bust out a Christmas Vacation. I put on Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. We watched Home Alone, you guys. I went on a 5-mile hike in my neighborhood. And that was really nice. And I was on the phone a lot making silly memes and stupid stuff. We started the day watching the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, or I had that on in the background. I played the Thanksgiving Peanuts album. Da, 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 da. And the food was just delicious. Rebecca knocked it out of the park. And it is so cool. Like, I think I've spent so much time being highly neurotic and being just like kind of glass half empty a lot of the times. And I'm just really, I just couldn't be more excited. And we just kept being blown away that next year at this time, if all goes well, we will have a daughter and we will be able to pollute her with reality show television if all goes well. No, this is what I'm saying. It's boring to talk about when you feel good about something, right? It's interesting when you really like hate something, but I don't know. So it's really nice. I'm upstairs today. If you're watching this on YouTube, because Dad's in the bedroom where I usually record at. So it's kind of weird lighting in here and it's probably a little echoey. So I apologize, but it's been great. But I want to know how your guys's was. Because ours was like my dad didn't overdrink. My dad didn't, nothing bad happened at all. It was the only thing that happened was that we just ate way too much. Like just a disgusting amount of food. And then by the time it got to the pies, you can't turn down a pie, right? You just can't turn down a pie. Anyways, I got to spend my day with my family and now I get to spend it with you guys, my other family. And then we all get to spend it with our other family. And that's these ladies of Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. You know what I'm saying? Even if sometimes I give them a hard time, I love all of these ladies. Sometimes I'm a little suspicious of Heather Gay, and we'll go through but my God, the hours of entertainment that they have provided me and us. I was having a conversation that you'll hear next week on the podcast, and this guy, he's a great guy. He brought up this interesting point about Salt Lake, because I've told you guys it reminds me of early seasons of Real Housewives of New York. And he wasn't like pushing back on that, but he pushed back in a way that he was completely correct on. When I talk about early seasons of Real Housewives of New York, what I mean by that is just the dynamic of those women. It's like, wow, the dynamic of the women, not the storylines, the dynamic of the women. That's what reminds me of Salt Lake. The dynamic of these women are magical. Now, the difference is, and he pointed this out, and I completely agree with him, is that the Roni early seasons, there wasn't a lot of like full on producing. They're not like fully dressing up in insane costume. It's like there's a theatricality about Salt Lake City. And that's what I've always said about Salt Lake City is that sometimes you're like, it feels like a fever dream. You feel like you're watching a horror film set in the daytime. It's a cross between John Waters and David Lynch. It's very bizarre, but they commit fully. Like I fully believe it, but at the same time, it's so hard to believe in the first place. Now, Roni, you never had a hard time believing that these ladies existed. Like, you're like, oh, yeah, I know people like this. I mean, I can't believe we get to do a peek behind the curtain. But I mean the dynamic. That's what it's like. I really love those early seasons of Roni, like I really love these seasons of Salt Lake. But Salt Lake, I feel like it's walking this tightrope because if they keep going the rate they're going, you know how difficult it is to keep this kind of pace and this kind of storyline. Like I'm scared that it's all going to break apart because I feel like this show is produced within an inch of its life. And I mean that as a compliment, but I have to imagine it's hard to keep up because you have all of these different threaded storylines. You have all of these costume bits. You have these hot mic moments or these angry things like something happening, a mystery on an airplane. You have the below deck episodes, which I truly believe are going to age like a fine wine. I do believe that we are going to look back on those below deck episodes as almost like a Scary Island trio of episodes. I really believe that. I think that is going to keep getting funnier and better and weirder as the years go by. I do think, like I said last week, that there is a little bit of a disappointment when they're back on dry land because now, it's like the first 19 minutes of tonight's episode or last night's episode, they're all in one scene, which is great. But once they're all out and we're seeing separate storylines between like Bronwyn, Muzzy's back, by the way. And by the way, isn't it interesting? Todd's not in the episode, but Muzzy is. It might go with my theory that they're the same person. Mrs. Doubtfire much? But those separate scenes, they're great. I love them. But after you have 3 episodes where these ladies are forced to be together on a boat, it's, like the dynamic completely shifts. And I don't dislike it, but I think there was something so lovely and hysterical about having them all on one location. Like today, the episode 19 minutes at Voltaire's restaurant, right? 19 minutes. And there was a part of me like about 15 minutes in going, I think I could watch 42 minutes at Voltaire's. Like, could we just do the whole episode at one lunch? Because we did it at that psychic thing a couple of episodes ago, right? We kind of did that. And I was like, could we do a round 2 at Voltaire's? Like, these ladies are so dynamic within it. But I just don't know. I mean, obviously, I think that's smart that they didn't because the Meredith plane situation is getting so convoluted in a weird way. And as it goes on, it is getting admitted to that Meredith obviously lost her shit. But the more you think about it, yeah, I would lose my shit too if somebody is constantly trying to say that my significant other was cheating on. Like, look at this TikTok, Meredith. Yeah, I would be pissed off too. But it is interesting because now they're bringing up the idea and they're stringing along the idea that Meredith potentially and allegedly has a substance abuse issue, which is way more dangerous than just freaking out on Brittany. The fact that Meredith fought saying that I did not do that to me. The fact that she fought it almost made that storyline about substance abuse come to the forefront. If Meredith had admitted it flat out, then I think this other storyline that's rearing its ugly head might have dissipated. But even in the preview for next week, we see that Meredith brings out drug tests. Great. Yeah. And by the way, did you notice they're in like Meredith Marks, like little bags? Yes, Meredith Marks store. We sell jewelry and pee tests. We sell pee. You can leave. You're peeing this pee test. Oh my God, you guys. I keep thinking about the Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, the Demi and Brett Pissgate. the piss scandal heard around the world, and they live in Utah too. Like every time, like when Meredith brought up the pee test at the end of the episode in the preview for next week, I just kept thinking, oh God, I hope Brett's not watching. He's probably got like a semi hard on right now. Like, holy shit. And then I was watching Salt Lake and I was like, oh my God, at least one of these ladies has peed on a guy. Like that's statistically possible at this point. It seems like it's on the agenda, right? It's Mormons love soaking and Mormons love peeing, potentially. That's like now introduces evidence. And this Demi, you guys, from Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, she and Brett like immediately made a video like leaning into it, like, but admitting that they did it, but leaning into the joke. And it's like, girl, I get it that you're trying to serve it. You know, I'm serving, like, I'm not thrown by this. You should be thrown by this a little bit. It's okay to be thrown by this. We don't need to know, like, what is that one tweet I always see of like, we shouldn't know this much about each other. And I get you're on a reality TV show and I'm the biggest proponent for like, tell me everything. But even me, I'm like, you know what? When I say tell me everything, I don't mean everything. I don't need next season to like Heather Gay takes a Cleveland steamer on a date. Like, I don't need that at all. Are you kidding me? Also, Rebecca and I last night, we stayed up and we watched this was the first time I watched a full interview of Call Her Daddy, because Whitney Levitt from Dancing with the Stars and Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, she was on with her dancing partner, Mark Ballas, and then they did what would have been their freestyle dance at the very end of the episode. And I'll talk more about that probably on Saturday, because I have a lot of thoughts about that. But that was the first, I think, maybe I listened to the Ariana one. I'm trying to think, but it was like the first, we actually watched that on YouTube, and it was a big production, lights, everything. And, I don't know, like, I just don't want to shit on Alex Cooper. But I don't know, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Anyways, I'm just sitting, I'm like, you're just going to hear me for 20 minutes going, should I? No, I don't need to do that. No, it's all fine. Like, I hate to do that, but sometimes you watch these interviews and you're like, you can ask them anything. Like, there are no holds barred in the interviews that she gets to do. And I'm like, this is what we come up with? Like, it was good. You got you had the beats. She hit the beats. But sometimes you want it to go a little deeper. You're like, you have the power. But what did blow me away was that freestyle dance. And I will say there were a couple of cuts in the dance. Just, visually, they did some really interesting things. But you could tell there was like a cut, costume change, and so it visually looked even more stunning than it does on Dancing with the Stars, because they actually had those cut marks where they changed costumes and makeup and things, which I thought was amazing. I did tell you last week, or I told you a couple days ago, that I believe, and Whitney did say that she's announcing Monday where she is headed to next. Now, the odds-on favorite is Chicago, but who knows? It might be Hamilton. But it will be announced Monday, just like I thought it would be, because you got to strike while the iron's hot. You got to strike while people are still talking about you. I believe Ariana did the same thing, right? Dancing with the Stars into Chicago. And I think that is so smart. And I'm very, very excited to hear that announcement. And she also said she's doing a movie, her first movie. So I'm like, what? And also follow-up questions, like, what movie? What is it? What kind of part do you play? Did you audition? Did it get offered to you? Like, we want to know those things, Anyways, let's take our first commercial break, and then we'll get back and we will get going. Man, I am so happy to talk to you guys. Thanks for being here today. Okay, we are back. A couple of announcements. I'm a part of a thing called Fan Social. It's through Jeff Lewis and Michael Beck. They created this company, Fan Social, where you can book experiences with all of the Bravo celebrities or kind of co-hosts of Jeff Lewis. There's tons of people on the website. You can go to fansocial.co, but they're having a Black Friday sale of 20% off. And I think the sale goes on for more than just one day. And so it's 20% off booking with me if you want to go to coffee, if you want to go to drinks, if you want to go to dinner. I'll pretty much do anything. I'll move in with you. If you want to be in the birthing room with me and Rebecca, I'm sure we can make that a fan social experience. But feel free. I mean, I'm not going to shit on myself, but if you want to, it's there. But I know that's like a big ask. But also I'm fun. We can talk shop. Why am I shit? Oh God, I got to stop this. Anyways, fansocial.co. It's 20% off. And not just for me, for everybody. Like Doug Buten's on there. I think Joey Zauzig. You got Jeff. You got Shannon Bedore is on there. I'm like, I wish I had just free money to spend. I'd book a fan social with Shannon Bedore. Oh yeah, if anybody's super rich out there listening, book one with Shannon and with me at the same time, just so I can hang out with Shannon as well. Because you can do that. You can double up and have experiences with two chumps, I guess. So that's over there, fansocial.co. If you like the show, consider giving it 5 stars on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Patreon. I'm recording with my dad tomorrow, and then on Saturday we're doing a Patreon live at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I know you guys are with family, but if you want to join us, we'll be there live. You can watch it after the fact as well, and we pretty much talk about whatever you want to talk about. That's on Saturday. And then what else? There was I'm on the new episode of Reality Court with Ace Fanning, and this was our first time podcasting together. I've become friendly with Ace over the last couple of months, and I really love this dude. I think he is so funny, and I had such a good time. We just talked about our top 7 Housewives moments that we're thankful for. I think it just got released today on Thanksgiving, so check that out. It was really, really fun, and I know he's coming on So Bad It's Good soon. So if you're fans of Ace, which I think you should be, you'll be able to hear him soon as well. Okay, let's get into the magic. Episode 11. So I think we're gearing up for a 20-episode season because the mid-season trailer was just an episode ago, right? And this episode is called Ladies Who Lunch the Squeakquel. No, it's the sequel. And because season 1, episode 5, we had our first episode called Ladies Who Lunch. And that was at Voltaire's restaurant. Mary Cosby threw it. So now we have the sequel, but I will refer to it as the Squeakquel because I like saying Squeakquel. And Mary is throwing a Voltaire's thing again. Also, has any of the Salt Lake City ladies commented on Jen Shah getting early release next month? Has any of these ladies gone on record yet? I have not seen anything, but if you guys know of anything, please let me know. I just wonder if Heather Gay's moving, she's witness protection program at some point. I want to know. Now, I do not want Jen Shah back on the show. I want to make that very clear, at least not for a couple of seasons. I think that would ruin the magic. But if you are going to bring back Jen Shah, it's only right to bring back Monica Garcia. But I just don't think you need it. I don't think you need it at all. But I am just curious about their real reaction. Their real feelings. I saw Brittany Bateman posted that she was at the gym with Whitney today. I think it was just random too of I love when I run into castmates at the gym. And Whitney's like, what's up? I'm squatting 100 pounds right now next to Brittany Bateman. What's going on? Yeah, so that was wild. But yeah, they're real people that live in Utah until Jen Shah gets there, and then they're all moving out of Utah. Next season of Salt Lake City takes place in Bakersfield, California. It takes place in a non-disclosed location, just in case Jen Shah's doing drive-bys or something like that. I just have a feeling something bad is going to happen. So the description Peacock gives us for this episode says, Mary hosts a luncheon after her church service, but the divide in the group intensifies. Ooh. Now, Heather Gay was on Las Culturistas podcast today. I didn't listen to it, but I did read that Heather Gay said when they were at the Las Culturistas Culture Awards a couple of months ago that the cast had some sort of blow up that probably is going to be talked about at the reunion. Now, Andy put out his, annual, I'm preparing for the Salt Lake City reunion. Please drop questions. I believe he put that on Threads and Twitter. And so that means that the reunion probably films in a week or two. By the way, that reunion, that's brilliant. I just thought about that. Andy will ask them in person about how they feel about Jen Shah getting out of prison. And I swear to God, Andy, you know how much I love and adore you and worship at the altar of Andy Cohen, but do not do a dead of the night interview with Jen Shah like you did with Karen Huger. Do not do that. I don't think he will do that. I don't think he wants to do that, but no, do not do that. Let Love After Lockup do that. Let another just let her do that herself. Do not get involved. I'm begging you, please. We always start with scenes from previous episodes that give you a clue about the scenes you're about to see. One is that Muzzy, Bronwyn's mother, has moved in with her because her dad obviously is going through a lot of health issues. She did lose her dad earlier this year, which is so tragic. But Muzzy did not make a great first appearance. Even though it was iconic for reality television, it kind of had this weird effect where we realized or thought maybe Bronwyn surrounds herself with people that bring her down, because you have the Todd father who's like, oh, rah, 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 and you have Muzzy that's like, oh, but all very negative. And so we see scenes, her talking to Meredith saying not only does Muzzy live with her now, but her daughter's boyfriend lives with her, and that she pretty much runs a youth hostel. So we have that storyline that we're going to deal with. And then we have Whitney talking to Justin going, oh my God, Meredith totally assaulted Bronwyn on the plane, and Lisa was in her ear, just like egging her on. Oh my God, you've got to kill her, Meredith. You've got to do it. Tin Roof Rusted. Happy Thanksgiving. And then Meredith talking to Mary Cosby in that scene going, Mary, it's just being spun into something that it's not. I rented you a friend on an airplane. I didn't. And Mary's like, Meredith. I was there, Meredith. And Heather at the horror hair play, the high body can horror hair party, Heather saying it might take all of us. Saying that's not what happened, Meredith. And then remember Mary's church opening where Meredith and Lisa walked up when the other ladies were outside talking shit. And Mary's like, hello. And Whitney's like, oh God, they're here. Oh my God, they're here. And that's where we open tonight's episode, right? And so we see the snowy mountains of Salt Lake, and just like kind of some fun jazz piano, like doom ding dang da doom ba da boo da doom dang doom da doom down hey, and we hear like not the ho ho ho, but we hear like a choir, like hey who da da do, hey who ha da hoo, hey man. And we see that my dad's like right below me, like so proud of his son going, hey, nobody do do, hoo. my pregnant fiance's in the other room. Sorry, you guys. Once again, it just hits me sometimes of what I do for Sorry. Anyways, Meredith and Lisa are in a car. Meredith's like, I'm fucking hungry right now. And Lisa's like, me too. Oh my God. So, then Meredith goes, there's a bug in here in the car. And she opens the window and she goes, bye, fly. Even little behavior like that, I'm like, holy shit, this deserves an Oscar. Bye, fly. And Lisa goes, Mary? Sorry. This is... Okay, Mary's church service was beautiful. And we flash back to Mary's church service where Mary's like, whatever you need. And everyone's like, woo! And I will not ever get over the shot of Heather with her hands in the air and her eyes closed, feeling the touch of the Lord, like, whatever you need. Ho! And everybody's clapping, and Lisa's uncomfortably clapping. And Meredith in the car goes, it was so nice, so beautiful. And Lisa's like, when we first got to the church, I felt like everybody's energy was off. Well, it was like that when we walked up, Lisa. I mean, they were like, why are you here, basically? And then we cut to Heather Gay and Whitney. We intercut them both driving, right? And Heather says, they came, they're all smiles, like nothing's happened, nothing's gone wrong, not talking about the Britney plane situation at all. And when he's like, them showing up so fake, like nothing happened, that makes me even more uncomfortable. I am so uncomfortable. I clenched my butt. And Heather's like, I know. What do you think's going to happen at lunch now? I think that they're going to spin it and make it somebody else's fault. And then Heather blows a raspberry. She goes, "It's going to be all of our fault, Heather. It's going to be all of our faults." And then we see Voltaire's Osteria. And by the way, I try to do all the work for you guys. On Yelp, I looked up Voltaire's, and this thing is sitting pretty, man. It's got pretty good reviews. It's pricey, everybody says, but they're sitting at a 4.3 with 931 reviews, and it's really good reviews. They say, like I said, pricey. There's a couple of people in the review say, I came here because of Salt Lake City. Now, if Rebecca and I do the baby moon in Salt Lake City, I got to hit her with a night of Voltaire's, right? You just got to. Anyways, Angie's walking up with her big old sunglasses. You see that her finger is like wrapped in like a splint from when she crushed it on Below Deck, and she's waving at Mary's staff. I believe this is like a lot of the same guys that you see in season 1, episode 5, that were like there with the red carpet, and they like immediately are there to like greet you and walk you into Voltaire's. And it's just like classy. Anyways, Angie walks in and she's like, "Mary." And Mary's like, "Welcome, darling." And she has her 2003 Dom Perignon. And Mary is just all in her glory. She's wearing a beautiful red dress. "The lady in red is dancing with me, cheek to cheek." I gotta say, I think I'm falling in love with Mary Cosby. Like, I think... anyways, I'm taken, but I'm just falling in love. That's all I'm saying. Angie says, "Congratulations, Mary. This is so elegant." She didn't create the restaurant. She's just paying to have a dinner party. She didn't create it. Anyways, Mary loves Angie's outfit that kind of looks like a floral number, a little like kind of that Blake Lively movie that everybody still talks about because we're still in legal issues with it a year later. Mary says, after the plane ride, everyone is not forgiving. Everyone is not healed. "So Lord help us all," she says in a talking head. Angie says, "Everyone in your church is so welcoming." And Mary's like, I feel that like that's what our church is built on, is love. And whatever you hear about it from some TLC documentary, you can go fuck off because it's built on love. And then Bronwyn comes in dressed beautifully and they're all hugging and like, "Oh, you look beautiful. No, you look beautiful." And the Dom Perignon, the guy's standing there with like 4 glasses and a bottle. And Mary's like, get some Dom Perignon. And Bronwyn's like, "Of course it's Dom Perignon. Of course it is. Thank you. Cheers." And Angie's like, "Wasn't that a beautiful service at Mary's?" "It was unbelievable. Thank you, Mary." And Whitney and Heather are walking up. And I love Whitney. She admitted that her business was a failure earlier in the season. And now she like holds her head up higher than she's ever held it up on this show before. She's like, "Hello, gentlemen. It's me, Whitney. I failed at business, but I hold my head high. Hello, what's going on? I'm walking in with Heather Gay." Anyways, Angie's like, "Mary, you were in your element at the church." So now Whitney and Heather walk in, and Mary hits him with a welcome. And when he's like, "First Lady of Faith Pentecostal, what's going on?" And so kiss, kiss, love, love. And then there's like a bunch of beta fish laid out. Remember Mary Cosby, the first season, she gave him like headphones and like it was a really insane gift package. I guess Mary Cosby got him beta fish. And Whitney's looking at it and goes, "This one is not okay. Oh, it's moving. Okay." And Angie goes, "Well, this beta fish is a snooze fest, so give this one to Meredith." No, you want to give the one to Meredith that's like just unhinged. Like this one's trying to like, "Rrr!" That's Meredith's beta fish. And also, these ladies, some of them, including Bronwyn, complained about the beta fish. Guess who will take that beta fish off your hand? This would go so good in my reality show museum. Anyways, Meredith, her boot is like just beautiful boot work because remember she hurt her foot, or toe, foot, whatever. She's walking up with the boot like, "What's up, Mary? Hello, guys." And Lisa's like, "Hey, guys, what's going on?" And so now they walk in and Angie's like, "Oh, Mary, your guests are here." I'm like, "Angie, come on, let's be nice. Let's not be shitty yet." But there's like a tension, right? And Bronwyn turns to Angie going, "You said your guests are here. What are you doing? What is wrong with you, Angie K?" And Mary goes, "Thank you so much." And Lisa's like, "I loved your service. I loved it. I am not working with the Church of Satan anymore after that." And Bronwyn tells Whitney, "Hide behind me, Whitney. Hide behind me." And Heather goes, "There's beta fish, Lisa." And Lisa goes, wait, where? You know me. I love a betta fish. Oh my God. Oh my gosh. Are you kidding, Mary? A betta fish? Oh my God. Bronwyn in a talking head goes, a goodie bag is usually a gift for me, not a responsibility for me. I mean, I'm going to bring it home and Todd's going to try to make out with it while he's farting. Heather says, I mean, the more the merrier. I'm an empty nester, but it doesn't mean I don't care for a fish. That fish is going to watch me fuck a lot now that my kids are gone. Angie says, these fish, they kill each other, so you have to separate them. They're not piranhas, are they? But Whitney then goes, they're fighting fish. Yeah, just like my friends. I don't really know anything about betta fish, but if they're fighting fish, okay, cool, man. Is it like illegal dog fighting or something with betta fish? Anyways, the ladies get seated at this beautiful luncheon. They've rented out the whole place. And by the way, rest in peace to Voltaire's. He was on that first season. He has left this mortal coil, and we miss you. There is a complete awkward silence at this table. And you do wonder in editing how long this awkward silence went, if it just is in the editing and there was no awkward silence, but we see shots of each one of these ladies, awkward silence from the waiter himself. And Heather goes, so this glass I'm holding, this is the Dom Perignon 2003. And Mary's like, yes, it is. Yes, it is. Should we do a cheers? And Heather goes, should I be looking for the tears of the deceased that made it happen? And Robin's like, not the tears of the deceased. You killed me, Heather Gay. And we flash back to season 1 where Mary Cosby goes, you guys are drinking Dom Perignon 2003. In 2003, it was a heat wave. 5,600 people died and made the best grapes of all time. And Lisa has a shot of Lisa going, yes. Oh my God, Queen. Yes, yes. That's how I like my Tito's vodka. There's a great year of Tito's vodka where it legitimately killed. No, it was a potato famine, but that is insane. That I forgot. I almost want to go back and watch season 1 of Salt Lake now because you're like, that is batshit. She did say that. That's why Mary Cosby loves 2003. She legitimately gets off on the fact that so many people lost their lives in the production of this fine champagne, right? So the food is being served, very elegant, plated, still awkward silence. Meredith shoving things into her gullet. And Mary's like, I invited you all because this was an important day. And I felt like I needed a group around me I feel like real friendship. If you notice someone's not here, which is Brittany. And I did let her know why she wasn't invited. And we flash back to 5 hours earlier, Mary on the phone in her house going, Brittany, I just want you to know that I'm having my event today and I did not invite you. And we have a shot of Brittany driving in her car and Brittany's iconic. She just has this great mouth open, oh my God. She does this unhinged jaw thing where she's like, I can't believe you're telling me this. But Mary goes, I didn't invite you because you told me I was the most ungodly person that you ever met. And Brittany goes, okay, I recall. And we flash back to the boat where Brittany told Mary going, you are the least Christ-like person I have ever met in my entire life. Brittany trying to explain to Mary going, I meant that in the moment because I felt like you were super mean and God wouldn't be mean to people. It's going to be a real shame if God is mean to people. If God's just like a saucy bitch, God's like, you go, Mary. I wouldn't invite Brittany either. I feel like God would invite me to Voltaire's. But Brittany goes, but I got to agree with you, Mary. It was a terrible thing to say, and I'm sorry. And Mary goes, I appreciate that, Brittany. Mary tells the ladies she did apologize, which shocked me, and she meant it. She meant it. And I just about hit the floor. I looked at my dog, and I was like, whoa, should I invite her? And then we flash back to Mary looking at her dog and her asking her dog, do you think that I should invite her? And this dog kind of just cocks his head. Mary goes to the ladies, I'm like, give me a paw if I should change my mind and invite her. And we see her dog Donatello with Donatello. It could be the artist Donatello or Donatello Versace, right? Because Donatello, I was just also thinking of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle. Anywho, that's not important. But the dog doesn't give the paw. So Mary goes, no. Mary's like, he didn't give me a paw. So she's not here. That's so unfair to blame this on the dog. I feel like this is like a Sarah McLachlan commercial ready to happen. Like, in the arms of the angel, for just for just $350 a day, you can give Donatello the life that he craves. But this poor dog made sure that Brittany is not coming to this event, right? Mary goes, and I feel like if she could apologize, and she's setting up the ladies. This is brilliant by Mary. Brilliant. If Brittany can apologize, we should be able to come together and understand each other and understand why we're hurt. Understand, what really happened or what didn't happen and just apologize. And she's looking directly at Meredith on this. And Meredith's going, yes. Sometimes I miss those like quirky, the bangs Meredith wore last season, the Audrey Hepburn bangs. I call them corky bangs. I wish they made Meredith dress in those bangs. It was just so fucking funny. And Meredith wears a costume so well, but obviously Mary is hinting at the airplane stuff. And I was thinking about this. In terms of characters right now, this is who we have. We have Whitney. Whitney is a content driver. And by that, I mean, she kind of gets dirty and her hands are in everything and she keeps up to date with everything. I think she's a content driver in that she will help storyline along or make sure storyline doesn't go unnoticed, even if it happens off camera on a plane. Then we have Heather. Heather is trying to be a reliable narrator, but she's going so hard in the paint that you sometimes get highly annoyed with Heather Gay. But she thinks of herself as a reliable narrator. I do feel that she is not a reliable narrator any longer. Lisa and Meredith are both wild cards. You don't know which way they're going to go any given day. They could freak out. I mean, they pivot like on a dime. Then you have Bronwyn. Now, Bronwyn to me is a star. Bronwyn is somebody that Andy Cohen, when I Watch What Happens Live, I saw a little film of in between the commercial breaks where he called her the MVP of this season. And Bronwyn was like, I said they can point the camera at my life and get what you get. I did say that. And so she's obviously sharing a lot that I don't know if she regrets it. I don't know if that was her plan all along, but she's really giving us an all-access look, for the most part, into her life, except for those sealed court documents. But whatever. Muzzy, Todd, the whole thing, right? Now, Mary is the reliable narrator. She is what Heather thinks Heather is, but Mary is actually that. It's just that I am shitting myself, not literally, but maybe. Anyways, I just never thought I would say that about Mary Cosby. If Mary Cosby says Meredith did something on the plane, she is the one person that I actually believe where I'm like, oh, Meredith freaked out on the plane, right? So I do love that. I mean, that's kind of in my opinion. Oh, and then Brittany is just the Joker. I'm a joker. I'm a midnight toker. Brittany's not dumb. Brittany realizes that I think she leans into the batshit of it all. I do think she is batshit, and I think there are horrifying things that she has to work on, and especially with those relationships with her daughters. And she has a very toxic relationship with men. Obviously, Jared Osmond, but it seems like even before Jared, she has a pattern of picking the wrong men for her that actually makes her turn her back on real relationships in her life, including her daughters. But I do think she uses it to great effect, and especially with these ladies, where she gets these ladies to feel bad for her in a sense. And I do think they pick on her. I do think Meredith completely probably shocked the shit out of her, but also Meredith thinks that she had a reason for that. And I do agree with that reasoning. Anyways, those are my character. That's how I think of it thus far. So Mary's trying to make peace. She's like, just say, you know what? I'm sorry if that offended you. And Heather goes, oh my gosh, Mary, that's a magical sentence. Are you listening, Lisa? Are you listening to what Mary's saying? And even that, I get what Heather's doing, but Mary's fine. She doesn't need you to jump in, Heather Gay. And Lisa goes, are you listening to what Mary's saying? And then Mary, very confused, goes, is this a fight? And Heather goes, I talked to Lisa about it, but there was no I'm sorry said. And you didn't say I'm sorry to me, Lisa. And I was trying to tell you, I was deeply offended. And Mary's like, what was you hurt about, Heather? What was you hurt about? And Heather goes, well, I was hurt that this really great, amazing trip ended up in Brittany being corralled off a plane by us, sobbing, How do we not have one fucking picture of Brittany being corralled off the plane like a prisoner of war? Like, how do we not even have, I don't even need fucking video footage. I just need a snapshot. Nobody did a snapshot of somebody being corralled off a plane. I've even taken pictures of strangers that aren't famous at all being weird at airports. Are you kidding me? Not even fucking one photo? I don't think it's fake, but at this point, like I said last week, we need a producer to do a talking head going, I was seated in first class. She did freak out. Like, I need something, right? Because it's like legally, they need to do that. I feel like they need to be up on charges if they're going to let this lie fester or say it's not a lie. Heather goes, Angie can't even stand Brittany. And Mary can't stand Brittany. And they were caressing her and helping her. What do you mean caressing her, Heather? Like, just helping her. They were voluptuously caressing her. And Angie goes, it was really bad. Heather goes, it was very intense. It was a horrible situation. And like you both, Lisa and Meredith, are like, nothing happened. She's crazy. And Lisa goes, I didn't say nothing happened. I didn't say nothing happened. Is that what you heard? I didn't say nothing happened. And then 6 days ago, we have that Heather-Lisa conversation where Lisa's like, I did nothing to Brittany. I don't agree with what she said. And I'm not going to be held responsible for what she said. Lisa goes, I never said nothing happened in this scene. And Heather goes, I'm paraphrasing. I'm a 2-time New York Times bestselling author. I can paraphrase. And Meredith goes, we never discussed whatever happened. We didn't even discuss it, sir. Heather goes, okay, tell me what happened that warranted our trip ending with one of our friends, like never wanting to be in the same room as you or you again. She holds both of you equally accountable. At this point, I feel like we're about to like reveal that Meredith is a werewolf. Like, it's very interesting. It was a full moon on this plane. We were traveling across an equator and there was a full moon and Meredith woofed out, just fully werewolf. You tore her clothes off. The poor lady's clothes were tattered. Her shine outfits were tattered. And Lisa goes, that's weird. And Meredith goes, I was reacting to her also Meredith, we always talk about Meredith's vocal stylings. This is the one I actually want to be a pop star because her range in terms of, I can be a little slurry or I can be very pointed. She goes high, she goes low, she goes slurry. Just an amazing range on this lady. These malicious actions and reaction was not the right time, not right place, not right time, not right place, Meredith says. And Heather goes, girl, if Heather gave me girl, I'd be like, hey, stop, Heather Gay. Girl, it was much more than wrong place, wrong time. And Meredith kind of has this 1,000-yard stare. Yeah, Meredith, I don't know if Meredith ever was a trial lawyer, but I feel like she would have been on OJ's defense team. She's that good. She's not giving any tell. She's like, okay, I'm just not giving any. You can't read my face to save your life. And Lisa goes, I'm Meredith's friend. And I feel like Meredith was beyond upset. So now we're getting into it. So now Lisa once again admits Meredith was very upset. So she was upset. And then Meredith goes, yeah, I was upset on the plane. Venting to my friend crying. And he goes, yeah, she was crying. And when he goes, well, because what we all witnessed was different. It was like you were taunting Brittany and calling her names as you were turning into a werewolf. And Lisa goes, she didn't talk to Brittany once. It was all to me. So Meredith maybe was like, you can tell that fucking Brittany, she's a fucking floozy whore. Yeah, tell Brittany, even though she can hear me, I don't see or hear her. So I'm going through my friend Lisa Barlow that maybe she can let Brittany know she's a fucking stupid bitch. And when he goes, but it was in earshot of Brittany so that Brittany could hear it. And Lisa goes, it was all to me. Meredith was speaking directly to me. I am the Meredith whisperer. Everything she said was to me. And then Meredith goes, she had over-the-ear headphones like some kind of poor person and a movie or something on. The technology on these planes, it's great these days. And when he goes, she could still hear you, Meredith. On a talking head, when he goes, Meredith was absolutely diabolical on the airplane. So now she's diabolical. It was diabolical. It was like she had planned this for years. It was very crazy. Heather in a talking head. By the way, Heather, did you see this? She like has, I don't know if she's turned into the Tin Man or the Tin Woman or something. She has a purple outfit, but then she has like a giant fucking silver bracelet that looks like it weighs 50 pounds on one of her. It's way too much. I don't know what this is. It feels like a cock ring for the Tin Man. And Heather's like, there would be brief moments of peace, and then it would slowly pick up again and it would kind of crescendo. Whitney goes, she has ranges of emotion and tone and volume. Exactly. Just what like I'm saying. But I think Whitney means it in a negative connotation. And I mean it as like this. Meredith is one of the great stars that we have. We were in the disgusting and vile range of Meredith's tone for a solid 2 hours. And then we flash back to last season, and I forgot about this scene where, remember when we found out Brittany was recording them in the Sprinter van on their vacation, and Meredith found out, and Meredith finally, because Meredith will sometimes like completely clock out, and I think that's what people will talk about her with like an alleged pill thing, like maybe she's like Xannied out or something like that, but then sometimes Meredith it'll like clock for Meredith, and she'll like fully like wake up at full like steam, and she's like, you're a liar! You utterly disgust me! And once again, just speaking to like the Meredith in that scene, remember she's seated behind Brittany. Like, well, Heather's in the row and then Brittany's in the row. But once again, it's like, wow. So Meredith is very used to like sitting behind Brittany in a sense. But remember that? It was like the misdemeanor Elliot, like camera, fisheye camera. You utterly disgust me! Lisa in a talking head goes, the fact that these girls exacerbated this into something that it wasn't is kind of bullshit. Meredith in a talking head goes, I vented on a plane to a friend, Lisa, for maybe, I don't know, 30 minutes, and suddenly I'm the bad guy? Mary says, we were there, we heard it, and we were present. And if all of us are saying what we heard, and it's all lining up against what she said that she actually did, then here we are. Whitney in the scene goes, Brittany's hair was wet. I know Brittany's hair was wet because I think she spilled Merlot on her, or I think that's what they said. But in my imagination, Meredith was screaming so loud, it's just like she's just drenched with Meredith spit. And just Brittany's just fucking soaked with Meredith saliva. We took care of Brittany after the flight because she was hyperventilating, sobbing because she was terrorized for 5 hours. And Lisa goes, oh my gosh, as she's like spooning soup in her mouth. And Meredith goes, okay, well, I slept and watched 2 movies. So it was not 5 hours. I watched Oppenheimer twice. Okay, so try again. And then Heather goes, what movies did you watch? And we know because they talked about it a couple episodes ago. Crazy Rich Asians, right? And Lisa goes, Crazy Rich Asians was one. Let Meredith answer, Lisa. And Meredith goes, yes, Crazy Rich Asians. Yes, of course. We both watch Crazy Rich Asians. Now, this is kind of confusing, too, because on most airplanes now, you know, I love Delta. I'm a Delta girl. And they will give you a list of, you know, and by the way, I geek out about movies on planes. Like, I know I shouldn't. Like, it's like that's technology that exists. But for some reason, when you watch a movie on a plane at like 30,000 feet, you truly feel you're like, oh my God, this is the future. Like this, to me, that's more impressive than AI. I'm always just like, holy shit, look at this. I'm fucking watching Crazy Rich Asians on a plane. But Crazy Rich Asians is a huge airplane movie. It's always on every airplane since that movie came out. And I like Crazy Rich Asians. But like, did they like, were they like, let's start Crazy Rich Asians at the same time? And like, were they kind of that? Or was there only one movie to select from? Like, I want to know more about that. So Crazy Rich Asians. And then she goes, and one other movie I don't recall the name of. And once Meredith said that, I was like, I do need like a Siskel and Ebert kind of movie review show with Meredith. Like, you know, just where she judges, like, yeah, I said that. I saw, what did I see? I saw one battle after another. I don't even remember really. But they're all pausing, waiting for Meredith. And Angie's like, then what happened at the end of Crazy Rich Asians? And Lisa goes, what? Are we really doing this? And Meredith goes, I don't remember. You think I remember? You think I remember that stupid fucking end of Crazy Rich Asians? And Angie's like, well, I usually remember movies I watch. And Meredith goes, do you? And Heather goes, Crazy Rich Asians has a big ending. It's a big moment, Meredith. You'll remember. Think of it. And Meredith goes, I honestly don't remember. And Heather goes, did you watch it, Lisa? And Lisa's like, I did. How does it end, Lisa? Let's see. He goes on the plane and he like stops everyone and like is like, I want to marry you. I was going to do it by a pond. And up until that point, she was like dead on, but that's fine. She got most of that answer right. And then that didn't happen. And then they have like a big party for them. And Mary goes, is it good? It would be great if the last like 30 minutes of this episode was just talking about Crazy Rich Asians. Like, and also I feel like people that haven't been into the magical world of Crazy Rich Asians, this just really helps that movie, I think. But Lisa's like, weren't there synchronized swimmers? And then Merritt goes, well, I obviously fell asleep. I don't fucking remember synchronized swimmer. I must have fallen asleep by the end. I don't even fucking know. Because I didn't see that part. I didn't see synchronized swimmers. And then when he goes, were you sleep talking? Were you sleep talking? And she says it with like a kind of a diabolical smile on her face, maybe. And Meredith goes, no, I was not. You can tell Meredith had just had it up to here with Whitney, but she's still trying to keep it together. And when he goes, because I was awake the entire flight and I could hear you the entire flight, ripping on Britney and Crazy Rich Asians. You kept saying how shitty this movie was with the synchronized swimming. So Meredith is now kind of feeling the pressure. And it's all this Crazy Rich Asians gambit is paying off because Meredith can't answer. And Meredith goes, well, that's impossible, Whitney. And Angie goes, I heard you yelling back there, 5 rows in front of you, and I heard you yelling. And Meredith goes, it's not true. I love it how she says, she goes, it's not true. And by the way, where is Seth? I would love Seth to come in. Like, I feel like we have like got a Sethless season, and that breaks my heart. Some of my favorite scenes are like Seth going like, let's get pervy here. It's me, Seth. I want to stick up for my gal and tell her we didn't watch Crazy Rich Asians because I was too busy making love with her butt. Yeah. Whitney goes, Brittany was sobbing, Meredith, because of what you were saying about her. And Meredith goes, I agree. You should support her then. You were screaming horrific things. I was not screaming. And we all saw the same thing, Meredith. And Mary Cosby's shaking her head. You lost it. And Lisa goes, I think Meredith has a right to, like, lose her shit sometimes. So now we're even getting further that Lisa's kind of admitting that she lost her shit. And Heather goes, not on a plane, she doesn't. Oh, look who's TSA all this. Heather Gay, the friend of TSA. And Lisa goes, sometimes with friends, and you can hold your emotions. And sometimes now they're all like talking over each other. And Heather goes, Meredith, it requires an apology. And a pause. Do you feel bad that Brittany is upset? And Lisa goes, I already told her I feel bad. And Heather goes, what about you, Meredith? You don't feel bad that Brittany's upset. And Meredith goes, I feel bad that I hurt Brittany's feelings. Sure. Unfortunately, Brittany does not feel badly at all that she hurt my feelings. Yeah. Meredith marks. So there's nowhere to go. And at the end of the day, she doesn't like me, and I don't like her. We don't need to be friends. Everyone can move on. And then Bronwyn finally clocks in. She's been actively listening. And Bronwyn's like, feeling badly is different from sorry. Are you sorry you hurt her feelings? And Meredith goes, I'm sorry that she heard me venting and it hurt her. I'm sorry that she's such a nibby nose and listening to other people's conversation. I'm sorry about that. But Bronwyn's like, well, I guess you're not. That's a no then. I am entitled to my feelings, Meredith says. And Mary goes, yes, you are. You are entitled to feelings. Heather goes, yeah, but Meredith, you lost the right to cry when you guys harassed her on the plane. That is aviation law. If you harass somebody on a plane, you do lose the rights to your emotions. That's been since 2001. Like what this is where Heather lost me. Of like, you lost the right to cry because no, you could still cry. And Meredith, like, takes this in and Meredith's like, what the fuck? What the fuck? I lost the right to my feelings, Heather Gay? And Heather goes, you lost the privilege to speak about it. And Meredith goes, okay, well, then that's great. That's great. Heather goes, look at me. Stop talking to me then, Heather Gay. Stop talking to me. And Mary Cosby tells one of the waiters, a little more on that drink, a little more on that death juice, the death champagne juice. Yeah, thank you. And Mary Cosby looks so tickled when her glass gets filled. She just sees like the death of minors, like, woo. You're telling me, Heather Gay, that I lost my privilege to speak. And Heather goes, okay, so hang me on the 4 words I said, because I'll explain why I said those words. I'll explain it, Meredith. I'll explain why I said them because I felt like we got on the plane having your back, and whatever happened on the plane, swap that right on its head. And then we went to you and Lisa looking like bullies. You were mad. You were telling us all to take notes, and you left the plane, Lisa. And you guys did not seem upset at all. So I love that. We were getting like specific dialogue. Now Meredith is like on the plane going, everybody take notes. Get your notepad. Get your little school notepads. I need everybody to take notes. I want more specific dialogue. Heather goes, Brittany, however, had to be like physically carried through customs by us. Wait, customs wasn't weirded out that you were fucking carrying, like you guys were like camels carrying Brittany to customs? This feels like a drug mule situation, potentially. Heather goes, so for me to say you lost your privilege, Meredith, to hang your hat on the victim, you did. Because whatever happened on the plane tipped the scales, and you're in the wrong. I'm Judge Heather Gay on People's Courts. And we have like the big dun, dun, dun as we go to commercial break. This at this point for me is better than most courtroom dramas that I see on like television. I've never watched a full episode of Law and Order, but if it's like this, I'm going to get started immediately. Mary Cosby's like, Meredith, speak. And Meredith goes, well, I lost my privilege to speak, so I won't speak. That's fine. I don't need nobody needs Meredith to speak. And Heather's kind of like bugs her eyes out like, oh, okay. Meredith in her talking head goes, for Heather to not give me benefit of the doubt and a little bit of grace is actually shocking. She should just be a human being and not a judgmental bitch. And then Lisa goes, it is okay for you to be upset. Meredith goes, thank you. And Mary goes, so Lisa, had I treated you like that on the plane, Mary Cosby says, would you have thought that was okay? And Heather goes, I think she felt like, holy shit. Heather, we don't need you to keep butting in. That was a fucking nightmare, and I don't know how I'm going to navigate my way out of this because... And Lisa goes, I didn't feel that way at all, Heather Gay. And Heather goes, why didn't you go through customs with us? Because Lisa was running drugs. She's a drug mule. I'm telling you, one of these ladies is a drug mule, and one of these ladies is peeing on their husbands. I know it. I'm on to everybody on this cast. But now we find out, like, wait, why didn't Lisa go through customs? And Lisa's like, I actually have global entry and should have used it. Uh-oh, global entry's involved now? Because that's higher up than pre-check. You got to go to an appointment to get global entry. And Heather goes, wait, you have global entry? I didn't realize that. I was like, it's not on my app or anything, so I didn't realize it. It wasn't on my ticket. I don't know why. And Heather's like, we had to stand in line for a minute. And Whitney in her talking head goes, I like this lie because it's so obvious that she's lying. You don't add global entry to your ticket. Global entry is something that you have. I like that global entry is something that you're born with. You are it's like inside your soul, global entry, okay? You're identified as this person. It's not like TSA pre-check on your ticket. It's not something that you forget to add. It's something that you don't have, Lisa. So now, Whitney, now we're even deeper. Like, if this fucking global entry becomes a storyline, I'm going to lose my mind. Like, if the rest of the season's trying to prove Lisa doesn't have global entry. But Angie's like, Lisa, why didn't you use it? You did not use it to stay back with Brittany. And then Lisa's like, but I was going to use it, but I forgot. And Angie's like, but then you stayed in line by yourself for 5 hours? So wait, it took 5 hours to go through customs? Oh God, this fucking airplane situation, like I know flying's bad in 2025, but is it 5 hours? So now it's just everybody's confused at the table. And then Lisa finally is like, don't worry about it. Yeah, don't worry about my global entry. And Angie's like, why didn't you stay by Brittany though, Lisa? I needed space. I had my AirPods in and I was like listening to Kendrick Lamar. Oh shit, Kendrick's involved. Oh yeah, A minor, not like us. Not like us. And then Mary goes, not Kendrick. And even I love Mary Cosby. Like I love when pop culture gets into these shows. And then now I'm just picturing Mary Cosby. Like also I love that Drake, like kind of Drake's taking an indirect hit from these ladies because obviously Kendrick and Drake are at it. And if they're listening to Kendrick, I love that Lisa's like, fuck Drake. Fuck Drake. I'm a Kendrick girly through and through. Yeah. Totally. To Pimp a Butterfly is one of the most amazing albums of all time, which it is. Everybody go listen to Pimp a Butterfly. But Mary Cosby, I love that Mary Cosby's like, not Kendrick. And Lisa goes, I do love Kendrick. I'm a Kendrick girl. Kendrick Lamar, you have 24 hours to respond. Please, Kendrick. If Kendrick does a video tomorrow and he's like, yo, I'm a Lisa stan, I will lose my shit. Or like, who's the one in Kendrick Lamar's camp that like is embarrassed to watch Salt Lake City and like goes up to Kendrick and is like, yo, man, I was like watching... I was flipping channels and I don't know if this Bravo thing. Anyways, they said your name. It was like Salt Lake City. It's crazy. Anyway, you were mentioned. But Mary goes, I can't imagine having to sit next to Meredith, that werewolf, in that moment of rage. And Meredith whips her head to Mary. In that moment of rage. And then Mary goes, I'm not attacking you, Meredith. I just said it was a disgusting moment of rage. And Meredith goes, I didn't think you are, Mary. Mary goes, I love you. I care about you. I'm worried about you turning into a werewolf. And I know you were hurt. And I know that. And Mary goes, well, I didn't have a lot of support at that point. I wasn't wearing a bra. And Heather keeps rolling her eyes. And Mary goes, Meredith, we love you. This feels like I'm watching an episode of Intervention now. Meredith, we love you. We support you. Here's how your actions have hurt us over the last 5 years. But Mary's like, we support you. And Angie goes, I supported you in that moment even. I did not like what Britney did to you. And I think everyone would agree that Crazy Rich Asians is a magical rom-com. And Heather goes, Meredith, I mean, you basically said to me, if I pick Britney and side with Britney when you're hurting, we're done. And I don't want to feel like that with you. I didn't say we're done, Heather Gay. I said it was noted. But that's exactly what Britney said to you. Like, if you're going to side with Meredith... And Lisa goes, but I can add to this. I can add to this. I just said I'm aware that, okay, I see it. It's noted. It's noted. That's why I said everybody take notes. That's not what was said to Lisa, though. Lisa was threatened. She said, I'm going to come for you if you don't agree with me. I'm going to come for you and your family, your fresh wolf empire. I'm going to have a problem if you don't agree with me, she said. And Heather's like, that's not how Britney even speaks, first of all. Yeah, Britney's not like, I'm going to cut a bitch, right? Even Bronwyn's like, no, it's not how she speaks. And then Lisa goes, no, she said it in a classy way. And Heather goes, in a classy way? Threaten me in a classy way? No, she basically said it's you or Britney. To her, you did say that, Meredith. Now we're talking about Meredith. You did say that, Meredith. And Meredith goes, I didn't say that. I didn't say that. And Heather goes, thank you. Okay, thank you, Lisa. I did not say that, Heather Gay. I didn't. Angie goes, did it ever occur to you, Meredith, that maybe some of the things your friends are saying did come out of your mouth because you were emotional and that's okay? I know what I said. Well, why does Mary, Heather, and Whitney have the same story? And then you have a different story. I'm just trying to understand what happened. And Mary goes, I asked Whitney for the TikTok. The TikTok. Why don't we stop playing the game of Clue and just say, hey, they didn't like your behavior. They didn't like you were upset. That's the bottom line. And Mary goes, it is that you did not stop. You didn't, Meredith. And I don't know that you don't remember. And Mary goes, well, I slept. I don't. The fact that you don't remember concerns me. It really does. I do remember Mary Cosby. I do remember I got on the plane. I vented to Lisa for a little bit, had some pills, had some alcohol. I put on a movie. I fell asleep. I woke up. I was venting to a friend. And Mary goes, you would remember everything, though. I really don't, though. I'm not going to go back and forth like this. I remember everything. And Mary's like, I don't think you do. And I know what you're saying behind my back, Angie K. So let's not go there, Angie and Whitney. And when he's like, oh, shit, she said my name directly. And Angie goes, Whitney's not saying anything behind your back. She's saying it directly to the cameras in her talking heads. I have not said anything behind your back except for voicing my concern about the situation. Well, I guess I have misinformation, perhaps. Because I have a mole in your home named Bustin, rhymes with Bustin. And Whitney goes, the only person that I talked to who said something to Meredith. And now Whitney is staring at Bronwyn, and Bronwyn's like acting like, make me a bird so I can fly far, far away. Oh, no. So, we find out that Bronwyn has said what Whitney told Bronwyn to Meredith. And Mary goes, I'll tell you. Yes, okay, I will tell you. If Meredith doesn't want to, I will. You and I had lunch, and I talked to Meredith, and I said, what happened on the plane? She told me her side, and I said, well, it's being told to me that they saw you drinking in the club before you got on the plane. So I think they mean like the first class club, because I don't think that they maybe have a nightclub at the airport, but who knows, right? And we flash back to Whitney and Bronwyn at lunch, and Bronwyn's like very serious. Did you see her drinking at the airport or on the plane? And Whitney's like, yeah, in the airport lounge. She said you were drinking on the plane, and it's being said that maybe you don't remember what you said and what you did. I do remember flying the plane at one point. Bronwyn in the scene with Whitney goes, she told me she watched a movie. She went to sleep. Does she not remember, Bronwyn? Did she black out? Meredith in this scene goes, I do not have a substance abuse problem. And Whitney goes, I haven't even said that to you. And Meredith goes, and Bronwyn, what were the implications that you walked away from the conversation with? And Bronwyn's like, that you were drinking heavily and you didn't remember. And everybody's like, zoinks, zoinks. And when he goes, do you want to know how I feel, Meredith? I'll tell you. I think it could be three things, okay? So either you have hatred in your heart. Just love. That's such a Mormon. You have hatred in your heart. Okay, that's one. Or two, you have an anger problem, which I feel like would be hatred in your heart. You have an anger problem. I don't have an anger problem. Or you have a problem mixing substances. Do you think it's fair that based on what I witnessed, I would assume those three things? No, because what you were saying you witnessed, I don't believe. And you're a known liar, Whitney. Bronwyn's like, look, I think it sounds like you were wrong on the plane. You were wrong, right? I've tried to be supportive of you, Meredith. I've tried to ask a lot of questions, and I tried to have your back because I thought that was a step too far. Meredith goes, and I appreciate that, Bronwyn. But then you outed at this table. No, I gave her a chance to tell me herself, and she didn't. I never said a word. I never said what it was, and I never said who said it. I never did that. And Bronwyn's like, now I've damaged my relationship with Whitney. Boo-hoo. I'm trying to help you. I've damaged this amazing relationship with Whitney. We were going to swing with our husbands one day, and you've ruined that. And Mary goes, Meredith, you do realize you were wrong, right? You feel like you were wrong. Well, I was reacting to her behavior. Yeah. What more is it you want from me? I don't know what I'm going to do with Brittany. I'm shopping for hitmans right now. So that's all I can say for now. And Lisa goes, you don't have to have the answer right now, you know? You don't have to. I'm your friend. So now we're out at the Voltaire's lunch. No more of that Voltaire's lunch. And we weirdly go on to we're at fucking some, I don't know, if it's like CrossFit or something with Angie, Kay, and Mary. They're working out with ropes, and there's a lot of men, shirtless men, buff in the background. And Angie's pulling ropes, and Mary's like, pull it like your life depends on it. Pull it like they're coming after your husband, Sean, on the mean streets of Salt Lake after a circle jerk. And Angie's like, if you can talk, that means you're not working out hard enough. And Mary goes, I don't agree with that. And then we see Mary doing this contraption where she's pulling down on these ropes, and Angie's like, you're skiing, Mary. You're skiing. You're going down a mountain. Yes. The snow is hitting your face. TLC is chasing you down the hill with a docuseries that releases January 1st about your church. You're just soaking up the sun. And Mary's like, Angie, shh. I love this, though, because I love, montages, in, the Rocky movies, dun, 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 dun. I would love to see a hardcore, I'm telling, Welcome to Crappy Lake Season 2 better be Angie and Mary, right? 100%. I need to see them out on the open road. So we then go to Bronwyn's house, and she's like cooking something with Muzzy, her mom, right? And like I said, Muzzy has not had a good showing on her first episode. And Bronwyn's like, I was emailing today, Muzzy, with the attorney. Muzzy's real name is Marge. And Marge is like, oh, what's happening with that? And Bronwyn in a talking head goes, surprise, I'm not actually an American citizen. Uh-oh, shit. Yeah. I don't know in 2025 if you actually just want to say. Anyways, she goes, I was born in Brazil. My parents are from the UK, and so I had dual citizenship in both. And a few years ago, I decided I wanted to become a US citizen and get to vote. And honestly, I might be the only person in America excited about jury duty. I have an outfit in mind. I am very ready to do my duty. That I hope jury duty is a storyline for Bronwyn at some point. But Bronwyn says her siblings were all born here. They all had their U.S. passports automatically. And then Muzzy goes, and then we had an oops. You were an oops. Your dad didn't pull out. You were an oops. And Bronwyn's like, you can't call me an oops to my face, Muzzy. I'm not doing it just to your face. I'm doing it to the cameras as well. I swear to God, Todd and Muzzy are the same person. So we get out of that scene. We're round robining, and we're over at Heather's. And you remember Heather was redoing the home, and her girls are up, and they're like, "Oh my God," because she has desk furniture. Like these girls, it's like all of a sudden they've seen a meteor or something. And they're like, "What? Look at this! A brand new office. What is going on? Where did you get all this stuff? Where's it from?" "Oh, I ordered it from Wayfair, girls. All from the same place. The amazing deals you get at Wayfair are second to none." Yes, you do get a Wayfair-sponsored pop-up at the end of this episode. So I hate when shows do this. They find sneaky ways of clunky, ham-handed ways or ham-fisted ways of advertising to you. Yes, they have desk furniture to make me rebuild my life at Wayfair. The chairs swivel, girls. I can hardly recognize my life now. I lived in this small home for 20 years, raised my kids there, and now I'm in this huge place. Some would call it a mansion, and it's being furnished by the amazing people over at Wayfair. My girls are going to college, and their bedrooms will be furnished by Wayfair. So I think Heather so needs to butt into everybody's storylines because her storylines is literally let's get rid of my used mattress and let's build a desk set in my office. But, it's real. That's Heather's life. She says it's rewarding and fulfilling in a way that she never imagined. Okay, cool. Wayfair. Yay. So we're now at a nail appointment with Meredith and Lisa. And Lisa comes in. They're going to do her feet, but also her nail because she broke it, yelling at John or something. But she's like, I broke it at work. I am so slammed at work. And all this nonsense with everyone from the lunch. I literally am like, what was I? I'm so frustrated. It was weird. And Meredith goes, I was most surprised by Heather. That uppity bitch Heather. I don't expect her to take my side, but I expected a little bit of support as a friend. I felt like she was leading the charge against me. She's all high and mighty ever since she got that Wayfair office. She had the biggest problem. She was a judge and jury, and that was weird. But quite frankly, not as big as an issue to me as Whitney. Wait, Meredith, you literally just said the main problem is with Heather. And then you're like, this fucking bitch Whitney. Why is she sitting there trying to judge me? She's not my guide. Why is she judging my mental health and my drinking? These are damaging false rumors to spread about somebody. When did Whitney get a degree in psych? Is she a psychologist now? For a woman who's on every journey under the sun, from healing, I love Meredith's pretty good at imitations too. She goes from healing to religion to whatever. I think she should focus on herself. And Lisa's like, ha ha ha, we're talking shit about Whitney. Why is she focusing on me? The producer says, how do you plan to move forward with Whitney? I don't. It seems to me, Lisa, like they're trying to exacerbate the situation with Brittany. I had a conversation with Brittany. I met up with Brittany. And Meredith goes, oh, how'd that go? She emotionally feels like she experienced a lot. And then we flash back to Lisa Barlow at the brewing Templin family store or brewing company. And Lisa's like, so we really haven't talked since the trip, Brittany. And Brittany goes, what I've been hearing, which is that you don't feel like you contributed. I don't, Brittany. And Brittany's like, interesting. I feel like you are absolutely as complicit as the person accosting me. Well, I think your recollection of what happened on the flight is inaccurate. And Brittany's like, how? I feel like I was helping you out, whether you want to believe it or not. I love Lisa so much. I feel like I was helping you out. Do the fucking TikTok, bitch. Do it to her. And Brittany goes, it was literally like the 6th worst thing that has ever happened in my entire life. Producers did a real failure because I want to know the first 5. And also last episode, she said it was the number 1 most traumatic thing. So like a week later, it's the 6th. Maybe a week from now, it'll be the 12th. Who knows? But Lisa's like, huh? And Brittany goes, is there anything that you can actually say, I'm sorry, Brittany, for not ... But I did apologize to you. I feel badly that you didn't feel like I was supporting you when I felt like I was. And Brittany's like, ha. So Lisa tells Meredith, I feel like we're in a good space now. We're never going to agree on what happened on the plane. That's never going to happen because you turned into a werewolf. But I do feel bad that her feelings were hurt. Here's the thing, Lisa. As far as it goes with Brittany, I'm sorry for her, okay? I'm sorry for her as a human being, period. And that's why I'm just going to be the bigger person and move on. Has she been horrible to me as a whore? Yes. But do I feel sorry for Brittany that she can't hold a relationship? She's, struggles professionally? 100%. Yes. It's kind of just like a sad specimen. I feel sad. I shed tears. She was asking me how you feel, and I said, I think you should talk to Meredith about. I thank you, Lisa, because I'm happy to talk to her, Brittany. I'm happy to do it. Yeah, I'm happy to tell her how sad I am for her to her fucking face. So now we cut to a ridiculous scene with Heather and Whitney where they're dressed up like they're going to a funeral, and Whitney's driving a U-Haul because she's helping Heather throw out her marital mattress. Like, girls, man, we're really struggling for storyline, right? Like, I feel like, let's just focus on, we got all this other shit. We don't need to, take a detour to, throw away Heather's mattress. Like, what are we going to, recycle cans next episode? But Heather's like, I didn't want to keep my marital mattress for 20 years because of some sentimental feeling. I was just frozen in time. And you'll find all about it in my next book, My 20-Year Marital Mattress. And by the way, I mean, I know you know what I'm about to say, but I hate when I see scenes like this because it's like, I would have driven a U-Haul up to Utah and got this marital mattress. This would be what a conversation piece for my museum. Because I'm taking you to the museum and I'll be like, oh yes, I see you're admiring that mattress. That's Heather Gay's marital mattress where she had all of her kids on with her first husband. She wrote 2 books on this mattress. Heather goes, look, this is not a mattress tossing. This is a funeral. I would have been more excited if they took one of those blue lights to it just to see the stains, right? It's a funeral for the life that is now gone forever. And so now they're doing a little bit of comedy bit that Shannon Bedore likes to do on OC, and they're tripping over the mattress. There's no need. No need. I don't need any of this. But I will say I feel like I can smell the mattress. It smells like one of those candles at Bed Bath & Beyond, but also sadness. We do see a stain on the mattress, but I think it's a Diet Coke stain or something, And they're getting it out. And Heather goes, rest assured, these are not sex stains, okay? I'm not a squirter, okay? Let's just say that. Not one sperm was spilt on the mattress. What does that even mean? Are you assuring us that all the sperm went inside you? What do you even mean by this? It's okay to admit your mattress might have some sperm on it. Why are we delicately around? This thing could be sperm filled. It's your mattress. You can do whatever you want with your mattress. But Heather's like, God doesn't like waste, and I was a good Mormon. Okay? This mattress went from our very first apartment, Whitney, in Huntington Beach to our first house for 20 years. But now I have a new mattress by Wayfair. The best mattresses. This wrote 2 books, this mattress. This had 3 babies. This lived 14 years of marriage. I got my black guy from Jen Shah on this bed. And now it's time for something new. And she was like, I'm sure there's a metaphor somewhere in there, but like, I'm keeping my expectations low. And so I don't know. They're going to a mattress recycling place. This belongs in a museum. She says, I just want a bed to sleep on that isn't stained with 20 years of broken dreams. Not semen, just broken dreams, guys, not semen. So Whitney goes, vultures, fucking vultures. Have you seen Lisa or Meredith? And Heather's like, I haven't seen her talk to either of them since the lunch. I mean, Meredith has been a solid friendship for years. So I've never been at war with her. I've never been you've got to take sides in the great Heather Gay Meredith Marks war of 2025. I've never been in a situation where I didn't know how to defend her, but right now she's put me not only at odds with her, but at odds with, the future of our friendship. And when he goes, I'm her scapegoat. I've realized this. Like, she always just has to have someone to be mad at and to point the blame. But I am genuinely concerned for her. I'm worried that she really did black out. I told you many times in private, like, it reminds me of what my dad was like. Now, this is like, all joking aside, this is real. Like, her dad had a drug problem, right? And so Whitney's been around this shit. And Whitney says, when someone blacks out, from my experience, it's usually a mix of alcohol and drugs, or a bad combination of prescriptions that you shouldn't have. So by Meredith not taking accountability, Whitney says, that's another trigger for me in dealing with addicts in my life. Like, my father for years never had a problem. And so Whitney, this is what I do trust. When people actually have those experiences in their life, they can see things. They can suss this shit out. And Whitney says, and it just sucks because I was fully planning on talking to Meredith and telling her my concerns for her. As her friend, I would have never, ever told Bronwyn what I experienced on the plane had I known that little coward would run straight to her like a venomous, hungry snake. Like a venomous, hungry snake. Bronwyn's a venomous, hungry snake. Whoa, so now Whitney's mad at Bronwyn, you guys. Holy shit balls. Okay, so we get out of that scene, and I'm like, oh, now Whitney and Bronwyn. By the way, I feel like Bronwyn would, like, easily clear Whitney. I love Whitney, I do, and I think she's had a really good season, but I think Bronwyn verbally could clear Whitney in a heartbeat. I'm so sorry, Whitney, for saying that. Now we move on to a scene with Brittany and her two daughters at a therapist's office. And this is so intense because that first scene with her daughter we saw a couple episodes ago was so heartbreaking, and her daughter was so brave for putting that out there, right? And you just felt for her daughters. And then immediately we saw a bunch of scenes with her and Jared Osman. So both daughters are getting there, and Brittany's staring at one of her daughters, and she's like, I'm nervous. Brittany says, I'm still recovering from like what happened to me on the plane ride. I'm still very raw, but it did give me clarity of what I need to focus on right now. And that is Jared Osman, but he won't answer my calls. So I am reconnecting with Olivia. And it's just Olivia. It's not both of her daughters, just Olivia. But we meet Ashley, who is the therapist. Sorry, I said it was both daughters at first, but it's just her first daughter. And so the therapist is like, what brings you here today? And the daughter's like, do you want to go ahead? Do you want me to go ahead? And Brittany's like, I don't even know. Like, I don't even know where to begin. That's the problem. And her daughter's like, things were good until she divorced my dad. And that's, that had its own hardships, but she did get married fairly quickly after that. He was kind of her whole world, which is very Jared Osman vibes, right? And we weren't her priority. We weren't even close to being her priority. Her daughter at a talking head says when she married her second husband, she honestly became more of a mom to my new step siblings than to me and my sister, because she wanted her husband to appreciate her more, love her more. And she tells the therapist, I moved out of my mom's house to live with my dad. We didn't talk for a while. And from my perspective, it was 7 years of her neglecting her children. And by the way, if I'm not mistaken, the step siblings, one of the girls, I believe it's the daughter, has put out a lot of TikToks starting last year when Brittany first appeared on the show and said some pretty nightmarish things about Brittany as a stepmom, which I never bookmarked, but I'm sure you guys might have seen that. Anyways, her daughter in a talking head says she put all of her time and attention into her new stepkids. Like she would celebrate their wins, but then not ours. And it just kind of left my sister and I. She tells the therapist, I feel like we have a connection. And so even though you haven't done and made the best decisions, Mom, I still find myself wanting a relationship with you. And Brittany's like, yeah, okay. But the daughter says, but my brain's telling me that I'm going to get hurt more than I'm going to get any love out of it, which is so fair. And Brittany goes, I wish there was some way to tell her that I've learned, that I've grown. And maybe that's why I want to understand why I did that. But by the way, how have you grown? Because your daughter said a couple of episodes ago that she came over with you and Jared and you just started making out with Jared in front of her. But she's like, I don't feel like I would ever do that again to her. I would never ever allow myself to be put in a cage where I can't be a mom to my kids. The therapist goes, well, I mean, I think what the two of you are describing, right, is a really good representation of trauma. That's what it is. It's this realization of even if it's different this time, it feels the same, even if it's not. But I do think we need to bring up the Jared thing with this therapist. The therapist goes, so could you tell me what is the number one goal for you in coming and working on your relationship? What would it be? And Brittany goes, I don't want anything for me. I just want you to have what you need for you to move on. And the therapist is like, that's not how family therapy works. You get things too. And Brittany takes that in and she's like, you're just as deserving as your daughter to move on and heal from what happened in your relationship. And Brittany's like, I just don't feel like I am. And she's tearing up. Well, she's like, I don't feel like I'm worthy of anything. And her daughter goes, for some reason, I feel the same way. And Brittany goes, what? What, girl? Yeah, Mom, I feel like I lived so many years thinking that I wasn't lovable. And I feel like I often struggle with that. And so letting people get close is hard. And I just feel like the second that they get to know me, they're just going to leave again. This is what family and generational trauma does, right? You see how it it manifests in all of our relationships going forward. So your heart breaks for the daughter. And I'm not saying that Brittany doesn't have this well of emotions and hurt, not by her daughters to her, but her hurt from her own life, obviously of the divorce and these other men. But you see how it's affected her daughters in their relationships going forward, right? And Brittany goes, that's heartbreaking because she has so much to give. And if I had only made different choices, my kids wouldn't have any of this trauma. Her daughter says, I really appreciate you taking accountability that way. And the therapist goes, obviously the goal is to rebuild your relationship together, but I'm curious, do you think you have forgiven yourself? And Brittany goes, no, I haven't at all. I can't yet. I can't even begin to describe the remorse and the self-loathing I feel, Brittany says. The therapist goes, what's it like for you to hear your mom say that? She doesn't forgive herself. And the daughter goes, weirdly enough, it kind of feels reassuring to hear that she does realize that what she did was wrong. Yeah, of course it feels reassuring because then your parent, it feels like they care, right? Which is something what parents should, is care. And she goes, she does realize what she did is wrong because I feel like your response to a lot of things is to shove it under the rug and act like everything's perfect. And we're a perfect family and we have a perfect relationship. And Brittany's agreeing with this. To hear her take accountability actually makes me feel better, she says. And Brittany stares at her daughter stares at Brittany, and Brittany says, I just appreciate you wanting to give me a chance. It means the world to me. And listen, when you put this shit on TV, I would imagine TV holds you accountable in a way that sometimes life unfairly doesn't, or at least I hope that. Because I want to believe that people can change. I want to believe in that relationships can heal, that healing relationships. I want to believe that. I don't think Brittany's evil, but I believe she has her her wants and desires are just way out of whack. And her daughter seems like such a lovely person, right? And I'm sure putting this on TV was just a big gamble. So now we move on to a scene with three of the prettiest ladies with bob haircuts you ever did see. And they're walking outside on the mean streets of Salt Lake City, and they're walking just like 2 feet, like they're diagonally 2 feet away from each other. And it's like 3 generations of bob haircuts. And Brahman's like, do you understand now? The store we're going to is Bonsai by Me. And it's Bonsai Baime. Bonsai by Me. Ha 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 ha. What a funny name for a store about bonsai trees. I was trying to explain it to you, Muzzy, and you weren't understanding it. But do you get it now, you fucking knucklehead? Ha 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 ha. So Brahman comes in, and they're gonna make bonsai trees, which this is a real. I'm a huge fan of the Karate Kid franchise, and Daniel-san and bonsai's huge. So you got to find the tree that really calls to you. Bonsai is all about the beauty that you see in the tree. And Muzzy's like, I don't see any beauty with my daughter, so I hope I see it with a bonsai. Jesus God. Once you find your special tree, we'll meet you back at your table and we'll make a really big mess. Okay? Okay? Are we all making a plan for your room? To her daughter. And her daughter's like, well, one for my chameleon and one for me. So now her daughter's making 2 bonsai trees. Her daughter has a chameleon and then a separate one. So now I guess you take this chopstick and you open up the root base. And Bronwyn says in the talking head, I'm not a very zen person. And by the way, they're doing what this guy told them to do, but Muzzy's like fucking like dun dun dun, like just with the chopstick. She's like just fucking like going to town, like she's like psycho. And Bronwyn's like, but with everything that's going on with my parents and Todd, and after Mary's lunch, I need some zen in my life because Whitney's going to kill me. And she jokes with her daughter and her mom, I probably shouldn't have worn Valentino to sit here and do this. So I'm hoping that these bonsai trees are little miracle workers. And Bronwyn says, how many chameleons do you think it could handle? My daughter's talking about breeding her chameleon. And we see the chameleon. It's like this badass, like red with like a blue stripe and a yellow mouth. Like I didn't know chameleons could be this badass looking. Like this chameleon, I don't usually have like this kind of strong reactions to like reptiles like this. But this chameleon, I was like, hot damn, do I need a red chameleon? But, the daughter's like, I don't want to breed him. And Bronwyn's like, he's looking for a mate. And the daughter goes, he has been looking for a mate. And Bronwyn's like, how do you know he's looking for a mate? And the daughter goes, he sticks his penis and walks around. Maybe I don't need a reptile. Telling Bronwyn that this chameleon sticks out his dick and walks around. It would be great if the daughter was like, and he farts while he's making out with other reptiles. It's like the reptile version of Todd. But Bronwyn and Muzzy both have like Zoinks reactions. And the daughter's like, so I was thinking I was going to post something somewhere of being like, are there any female chameleons in the area? And like set them on a little date. If you guys do a fucking chameleon sex scene, I don't know if I could handle that. I don't know if we need that scene, but I'm scared we're going to see it. And the daughter's like, so the chameleon can just get it out of its system, right? And Bronwyn's like, I don't think you should do that. And then I was like, I think I should. But it's not here. It's in Portland. So now you gotta, I don't know if this is like trafficking this fucking reptile across state lines to get a partner. And Bronwyn's like, what are you going to do in Portland to her daughter? And her daughter's like, I don't know. I just think it's like a cool place. Like, you told me, Mom, you didn't want to go to BYU and you wish you could have gone to, like, New York and done the things you wanted to and, like, have a new experience. And Bronwyn was like, yes. Bronwyn, like, immediately regretting opening up to her daughter about anything. He's like, now you're using that against me? And she's like, so, Mom, I have to have a new experience. I have to, like, figure it out for myself, too. You can't just stay in the same spot. And Muzzy goes, wise woman. Unlike my shithead daughter, wise woman, you right? Yeah, there's a wise daughter there. Not like you knucklehead. Bronwyn says in a talking head, I really have never been alone. I literally went from my parents' house to a very short stint at college and then Gwen. I think it's long, and she starts tearing up, I think it's long past time that I was an adult by myself. but Gwen's just more excited about spreading her wings that way than I am. And so we see that she's really, really freaking out about her daughter leaving, right? And Bronwyn's like, Muzzy, you're staying with me forever. You're going to make my ego shrink forever, Muzzy. And Muzzy goes, I'm not ready to peace out on you guys, because I need some time, but I do need to find my own space. I love that Muzzy's playing hard to get with her own daughter, Bronwyn. She's like, I can't really... Todd's just walking around farting all the time. I can't... The smells in that place is crazy. And Bronwyn's like, is it Todd? Did Todd upset you? Because I can get rid of him. And Muzzy's like, I really did. I got to say, the show's good in that way. If they make a character or they show a character's really bad side like they did with Muzzy, they're usually pretty generous in showing a more positive side in the next episode. And they're doing that a little bit with Muzzy. Muzzy seemed a lot more fun in this episode. But Muzzy goes, I'd like to see you get rid of Todd. I think Todd's going to get rid of you. Todd doesn't need you. He's farting on models everywhere. And Bronwyn's like, by all means, don't tempt me with a good time. Also, Bronwyn's makeup in this is different. Like, she obviously got glam, but also I didn't know if she got some sort of injections around the mouth, because I know this is what happens when you watch a show too intensely. There's something happening with Bronwyn's mouth in this scene where it's like stiffer or it's like just different makeup. And Muzzy's just laughing like, Todd's going to get rid of you. And Bronwyn's like, honestly, I know you're laughing, but it's really uncool that the two of you have planned this at the same time to do this. You're going to get your lizard fucked, and Muzzy, you just want to leave. And Muzzy's like, well, you could come visit me. And Bronwyn's like, I thought you were here to make bonsai trees. And the daughter's like, why does it hurt your feelings? No one's saying they hate you, Mom. They're just that we have to experience new things. And Bronwyn's like, you're not wrong. It's hard. And it is hard, right? And Muzzy goes, I don't want to leave you because I don't even think you can wipe your own ass. And Bronwyn's like, well, my daughter thinks all the days of her life, the best days of her life are still ahead of her. And these were the best days of my life, was being with her. Which is such a beautiful sentiment, right? But also I was like, Bronwyn, you get to go to all these cool fashion shows, and I feel like that can make up for your daughter in some way. No, it obviously can't. So I can really see that this is a sad thing. But Bronwyn says, Muzzy, I want you to be comfortable, and I want my daughter to go do all the things that she wants to do and try all the things she wants to. But I do feel like I'm being left behind. And she's like a mess. She's like a little damp in this scene, and she's crying. She's trying to keep it together. And Bronwyn says that she's really put so much into showing up for her mom when she was sick and showing up for her when she needed help with her dad. And she says, and I feel like we just got to a good place and like kind of settled into a routine and we can be giggly. And we flash to them walking Bronwyn's dog, and Bronwyn has a swig cup. And Bronwyn's like, how many times are people going to accuse Todd of cheating on me before I say I need someone to tell me what's going on here? And then Muzzy's like Lucille Ball, you got some splaining to do. I need leave it to Muzzy, like a sitcom with Muzzy. Leave it to, you got some splaining to do. It's like Willis on Different Straw. What you talking about, Willis? What you talking about? And then we see this beautiful scene with Bronwyn's dad with Muzzy, and I think blowing out cakes for his birthday candles on a birthday cake. And it's Bronwyn's dad's name is David, and he's obviously in a bad place. This was such a really quick scene, but heartbreaking. But Bronwyn says we're having these really beautiful moments, and I just feel like the progress that we just made is like slipping through my fingers if she moves out. And Muzzy says, when you were coming back and forth from San Francisco to Utah on the weekends, I knew that someday, Bronwyn, you'd be moving, and it was hard. And Muzzy tears up, and now I'm like, oh my God, Muzzy, I'm sorry I dressed up like you as Halloween. It was an homage. And Bronwyn's like, so you know it was hard, Mom, so don't do it to me. You know what I mean? And the daughter goes, I'm just working on my bonsai. Like, you're sobbing, Mom. And Muzzy goes, they're playing. We're done. We're done. And Braun's like, I feel like I'm going to Tanya Harding, both of you. I'm going to break both of you's legs. And then when the two of you are like, oh, we can't take care of ourselves, we have to stay here. I'll be like, shocking news. And the daughter's like, Muzzy wants to bring her secret boyfriend over. And Braun was like, I swear to God, if that was the problem, I would be so excited. And the daughter's like, Muzzy already told me about it. And Muzzy's like, I have a husband already. I don't have a secret boyfriend. Todd. It's Todd, by the way. I have to move because we're in the weirdest love triangle I've ever seen. But Braun, when they're all laughing now, like the joke about Muzzy's secret boyfriend, it's good. I like them. I even like Muzzy. But it is interesting, the people that Bronwyn chooses. I mean, I guess we can't choose our family. But it just shows you also, these reality shows, they paint you as a villain or a hero. You know, there's not a lot of delicacy sometimes. And, you know, you're reminded with your own life is that we can be all things, right? We can be heroes, we can be villains, we can have good days, we can have bad days, we can make the most fucked up mistakes that don't even make sense to us sometimes. And then we can be good people. Like, we are the range of all of these experiences and all of these good things and all of these fuck ups, right? And so these shows try to put you in that box because they're trying to tell a story in 42 minutes each episode. But that's hard. So now we're at our final scene, and it's between Meredith and Brittany, and for some reason it's taking place at a park, yet they're dressed up like they're like real estate agents on Selling Sunset at the Oppenheim Group. Like, Meredith is in like an all-leather number, and Brittany's in like this kind of sharp, sexy blue, like little suit number. And Meredith's like, hi, Brittany. And Brittany says, Meredith reached out to me and asked me to meet up with her. I want to hear if she's willing to own any of what happened. If she's willing to give me some sort of apology, I'm more than willing to own my part of it. Meredith goes, thank you for coming here today to this park while I'm in my full leather jumpsuit. It's really pretty. She goes, it's really pretty. Yeah, it's really pretty, the park. I wanted you to come today because I wanted to talk to you face to face. It would be great if they met up in like a dark alleyway or something. And Meredith goes, I wanted to tell you that I am... sorry that you heard me talking to Lisa on the plane. And that it was definitely the wrong place, wrong time. And I feel terribly that I hurt your feelings. I don't want to do that. So Meredith really making a lot of concessions here. And then she pauses. So I'm sorry for that. Okay? Sorry. You know, I try to treat people with kindness and respect. And I don't feel it's been really an easy path for us. I think it's been a little bit difficult. And so I'm hopeful that we can move forward because the producers told me that I have to leave the show if not. And, you know, at a bare minimum, treat each other with kindness and respect. Okay? And Brittany kind of takes this in and goes, yeah. Let's see here. Thank you. First off. Thank you for that apology. That means a lot. Okay. And I'm talking to Brittany goes, I still feel hurt and traumatized, but like I'm thinking a lot about forgiveness lately. I've been asking for forgiveness in my own life. So I'm choosing for myself to forgive Meredith for what she did. She tells Meredith, I mean, I'm not aware of the intricacies and the nuances of your relationship. Talking about with Seth, right? Because this all started with like a TikTok that she saw about Seth's infidelities in Ohio. I didn't cheat with anybody in Columbus, Ohio. I got to say that right now. Brittany says, I think it was really, what's the word? It was a shady thing to do, to bring up the TikTok. It was. Okay, so now we're getting somewhere. And Brittany goes, and I realized that it was a trigger for you, and I'm sorry. And the reality of this is that I was bringing this up to make content for this reality show. And Meredith goes, to be clear, the real trigger was that you came in under the premise that you were trying to help me when you were trying to hurt me intentionally. Everybody goes, yeah, right. Yeah. Okay, you got it. So I appreciate you being honest about that. That actually means a lot. I didn't expect that. Everybody goes, yeah, you're welcome. Yeah. Okay. And it's talking to Meredith goes, I apologize. Her feelings were hurt. She apologized for intentionally hurting me with the TikTok. So I'll take that and move on in peace. And Brittany goes, it's hard to have such contention, Meredith, because everyone's been really torn this last week and it's been a big deal and I don't want it to be a thing anymore. She goes, I completely agree, Brittany. I don't know if we'll ever get there, but I think this is civility, And Meredith goes, set the bar low. Set the bar low. And Brittany's like, civility is a good place to start. Baby steps. Baby Ruth. Baby steps. Baby steps. Yeah. And they just stare at each other on the bench. Next week on The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. And we see Bronwyn picking up Todd at the airport in one of her inflatables. And it's a fun Todd scene, you guys. Todd seems happy about the inflatable. And I love Bronwyn in an inflatable. And then a scene with Whitney and to Justin, her husband, going, I don't want to ever do business with my husband again. I only want to fuck you. I don't want to do business. And then we have this ridiculous scene where they look like they're dressed up as the founders of the Constitution. And they're all in those fancy wigs. And Meredith goes, you're a liar to Whitney. And Whitney goes, alcoholic and pill popper. And Meredith goes, it's a shame it comes to this. I brought everybody a gift. And you see all these Meredith marked bags. And Angie reads, it says, multi-drug urine test cup. And Mary Cosby's like, zoinks. So if I fucking see Meredith Marks pissing into a cup, I mean, that's so adjacent to Secret Lies of Mormon Wives right now with that piss storyline. Anywho, that's the episode, folks. Happy Thanksgiving. I missed you guys on actual Thanksgiving, but come back on Saturday for an all-new episode. I think we're doing a Southern Charm recap. Bapa-doo, bapa-dee-tee-tee. Have a great time. I hope you're having a great time with your family and friends. Bye.